Welcome to Dear Business Coach, the podcast. My name's Elizabeth Walker, your producer and host, bringing you exclusive spotlights, interviews, articles, free resources. This is Dear Business Coach, the podcast. Listen, follow, and the email subscription is at dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. Also, access the free magazine each week. All it takes sometimes is one little thing to move your business forward today.
In progress.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Wonderful. And welcome to the Dear Business Coach podcast. Kirsten, how are you today?
I'm fantastic, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Amazing. Yeah, this is exciting. Wonderful artwork behind you. That is beautiful.
Thank you. It's actually stained glass.
Oh, really?
It's actually
Okay, cool.
I was
Very
gonna say,
good.
it's a sailboat.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Pardon me. I just couldn't go by without saying something. Yes, so you know what? I had the pleasure of learning a few things from you already when we met. So I can only really spend time on a little bit here in one interview. What I know about you is that you have harnessed marketing and outsourcing. Now, I didn't really understand before speaking with you how extensive this BA marketing works for people, and you are actually co-CEO, joint CEO. And you want to share with people all of the ways that they can be present and not burn themselves out. And I'm using the word burnout, but basically your taglines involve stress less and without working a bunch of hours. So adding in marketing techniques that that to me seem daunting for one person or an individual, but I think that you are enlightening me to the idea that with AI tools and coaching on how to use them is one way to really take advantage of my own time. So, Kirsten Graham, what we're actually talking about here today is you, but you are the joint CEO of Six Figure Business Coaching. So, tell me a little bit about your title and what does it mean to be a joint CEO?
Sure. So Jeannie was actually one of my clients a long time ago when she had her marketing agency. And what happened was we became friends. And then over time, we started to realize how important it is for business owners to be a part of their content. You know, back in the day, you could hire an agency and they could write all your Facebook posts and they could, take care of your email marketing and your blogging. But in this day and age, especially now with AI, it's even more important for us to show up and be a part of our content. So what I saw with my business clients was they have great information. And, not everyone loves being on camera. We don't always enjoy hearing ourselves, but most of them will set that aside because they love helping people and they want to serve people. So they'll get on camera, they'll create a podcast or a typical YouTube channel. And we found a way to help them do that rather than going through an agency. We coach them on the SEO strategy of starting their content. And then we actually pair them with a virtual assistant that we've interviewed, vetted, and trained. They actually go through a paid internship with us to make sure that they're great at video editing, audio editing, graphic design, social media marketing, emailing, and blogging. And then we have a really strong system so that our clients can consistently get a video up every single week and not burn out and get all of the promotional marketing done for that video in a very affordable way.
Wow! So we are partnered. The Dear Business Coach podcast is now officially partnered with NordVPN. And you know what? Look out for the logo, some press releases, cool information. What in the heck is a VPN and how does it work? I'm really excited. I travel and now I know how to get the VPN security I need. So Nord is now officially our affiliate partner. Look out for ways to support the show by going to the affiliate link I provide to you in your email and other places you can see it on the website. Thanks so much, NordVPN. Do you remember when I told you that as a podcaster, as a person doing interviews on a podcast, it's quote easy for me to put clips up because they're of other people and not me. And so one of my first questions would be, about this idea about when you are someone who's coaching other people, when you are someone who is accustomed to highlighting the person in front of you, your client, right? I'm used to highlighting you. I'm thinking about you. I don't think about my what is valuable about my face on the screen. I'm bringing you to the screen. And so I think a lot of the coaches that I talk to, that's the space too that they're in, is they're always thinking about their clients. And so giving yourself a perspective of, like, a realistic perspective of my, what do I do with my face, what do I do with my message, are these realistic concerns?
Oh, absolutely. Jeannie and I have two podcasts. And so, and obviously, I think part of being a good host for a podcast is having the intention of, one, making your guests look amazing and feel amazing in the conversation, also providing great value for the audience, whoever's listening. We want to make sure that they get a lot out of it. So when it comes to promoting it, we do focus a great deal on promoting our guest. However, that shouldn't be the only content we create, So it's very easy for you. You could do a really short clip saying, oh my gosh, I had this great interview with so-and-so today, and this is what I learned and how I'm applying it to my business. So you could bring yourself into that small clips if you'd like, so that you're getting yourself out there more. Because let's face it, as business owners, a lot of times the reason why we create podcasts, is to build brand awareness and to hopefully let people see who we are and how we operate and make that connection so that they'd want to connect with us. But you have to give people an opportunity to connect with you. You need to make it very clear to them that I'm here to serve you and I want to connect with you, whether you're the guest on the podcast or the host of the podcast.
Mm-hmm. Well, so that was a personal question from the chair that I'm sitting in. Although one of the things that you talk about, for example, on your LinkedIn page, is the use of podcasts as part of your marketing, and I get that question a lot too. So I know a lot of people are thinking about podcasts in their own business. Now, what about the idea that creating messaging through video, right? If I have something that is a little pitchy, a little salesy, or if I feel that way about it, but it's important to let people know what I do and what I offer. Can you actually coach me through the art of that?
Sure. I want to circle back to podcasting though.
Okay.
So, because we do help a lot of people start their podcast. And one of the things we talk about in the conversation before we bring them on as a client is podcasting is not necessarily a get rich quick scheme. Now, we've made over $30,000 from an interview that I've done. We bring on a lot of referral partners and affiliate partners and even clients from the podcasts that we host. So don't get me wrong, podcasting can be very profitable. But if you are going to start a podcast, you need to think about it like a long-term asset. And it's crazy to me that only 7.5% of people are still podcasting after 24 months. Mm-hmm. So 2 years, they give up and they quit. So I think that that's something to really think about is, do you want to make podcasting part of your long-term strategy? Because you need to look at it that way. And, part of it is, in the beginning, and Elizabeth, I'm sure you feel the same way, you don't really know what you're doing, right? Almost a host of a podcast. A lot of us have degrees in communication. We've never worked as a host on a TV show or something.
Right. No.
We're doing this. So, in the beginning, you're figuring out your stride. You're figuring out how are you going to act as a host. And I always say, every time I'm a guest on someone else's podcast, I inevitably learn something about how to be a better host. People do things and I'm like, wow, I love the way they did that. So you're always improving what you're doing as your host or as a guest. So that would be the first thing. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, you definitely want to get support with it. There's lots of ways to get it out there and to monetize it, but definitely think about, do you want to do it, 3 to 5 years is what I would say. So that would be my thing. There are a couple of different ways that you can promote yourself throughout your content. And part of that is you could create a commercial. And one of the things you said was like selling something. And we just did I'm trying to think, I think we did a demo video the other day for our software. And one of the questions was, are you a business owner or are you a salesperson? And the reality is that you're both. And if you're not making sales, you will not be a business owner for very long. Yeah. And so we need to remove the icky, used car salesman thought process in our head, because it's about relationships, and if you sell with integrity, and just like I said, if I'm having a conversation with someone, about, working with us and hiring a marketing virtual assistant to produce their podcast and create all their content, I do want to have that conversation about, this is something you want to think about long-term. You don't want to jump in this for a few months and just try it, because it's not worth your money investment or your time investment. So I think as long as you're selling with ethics, you're being ethical about it, and then you have the ability to deliver on the promise that you make. So to be able to tell people, this is what I can do for you, and then to actually be able to do that. If you can do that, you shouldn't have any problems creating content. So you could create commercials for your content. I think in one of your videos, you were promoting NordVPN.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. So a new sponsor you partnered with. We should all, and again, this is one of those things where the cobbler's kids don't have shoes, because this has been on my to-do list for a while and I haven't done it yet. But we should all have commercials or promotions within our videos about our own products and services. So you have no qualm about promoting NordVPN. Right. Why do you have a qualm about promoting what you do?
Hey, listeners, don't forget to subscribe to email if you haven't already. Do this at dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. And if you are a new subscriber, look for the magazine coming up. You can get a free download as a new subscriber. That's dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. Thanks so much, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Remember, you are a superstar.
Right. So scripting and the things that get me to the video. So I can come on a meeting with you and we're talking. This is interesting, and I know that I'm getting value and the audience is getting value right now. If I were to sit and think about what to put on a video, even as a commercial, I'm thinking scripting, I'm thinking I know I can sit right here in my chair that I sit in every day. However, I'm thinking more about the every moment, every breath, every intonation. Am I going to add music? So is this the kind of thing that AI helps with? Like if I am creating content, where does that come in? Where does AI help me with stuff like that?
Yeah, the first thing I would say is, if you do not already have a mission statement, a value proposition, and your unique selling proposition, you want to make sure that you have those, because that can be the foundation of the content that you're creating. And that's something you can have AI help you with. You can have AI look at your website and say, based on what you see, what is my value proposition? And if it comes back with something that's totally off mark, it tells you that your website is not communicating what you hoped it was communicating. So AI, you can really lean into AI to make sure your messaging is strong. But yes, you could absolutely say to AI. So for example, we have a software called From Leads to Sales, which is a marketing platform. And we have virtual assistants that set up all of our clients' accounts. And then our clients can hire those virtual assistants at a very affordable rate ongoing to continue to get the support they need. Because, the reality is, it used to be eliminate, automate, delegate. Now it's actually eliminate, AI, automate, and delegate. So you want to use those three things: AI, automation, and delegation. So you could actually, for us, like if I were looking at that, I would probably talk to AI and say, hey, this is our value proposition. Lots of people have software, right? But what is our value proposition for the software? So our value proposition is done for you setup. Our value proposition is weekly office hours so that you can not only get your questions answered, but you can learn about new features and new strategies. Our value proposition is also, affordable virtual assistants who know the software inside and out because they're vetted by us and they're on our team, who can do things like build different funnels for you. Our value proposition, our added value, is the fact that we have funnels that are already built that we put into our client's account. And then we provide AI prompts so that they can write what needs to go on those pages, so that they can write those follow-up messages for all of their automation sequences and text messages. So I would say, one, figuring that out is really important. Whether you're trying to create a commercial or have a conversation with someone, is understanding what's unique about you and your offer and how you're bringing it to the table. Once I have those things, it's very easy to go to chat and say, hey, this is the software, study it, learn everything about the software from this page. And here are all of our value propositions that we bring to this offer. Write me a 30-second commercial, write me a 60-second commercial. And you never accept what they first write. You can always say, oh, well, that's great, but let's see if you can improve it. Give me 5 more. Or you can take it from chat and move it over to Claude or move it over to Gemini and figure out, have them run it again. So AI is a tool, but sometimes I think it's a tool. And I guess the example I would use is like it's a hammer. Some people swing it once and hit the nail, and that's all they do, right? Mm-hmm. The reality is that hammer should be used to pound that nail all the way in. And so we need to invest a little bit more time when we're using AI to make sure that we are getting that message just the way we want it.
Yeah. Well, I think, this is interesting, the way that the way that I'm learning from you about how we can look at the tool like that as a creative partner, something that's helpful. You said you all have prompts. You have prompts that are provided to help me use the AI tool. So do you have to spend a lot of time like thinking about what prompts you would write for me, or are there some prompts that kind of work for certain segments of different industries, things like that?
Yeah, they're somewhat general prompts in the sense that, let's say you're setting up a coffee chat link and you're going to do a proper landing page. You want to make it look graphically amazing, but then what do you put at the top? What do you write up there in that 3 to 5 sentences that's going to grab people's attention and make them follow through and book that appointment? So we have prompts to help you figure out, what do you want to put in that section to really highlight what that conversation is about. Or if you're building a lead magnet landing page and you want people to sign up for your lead magnet, one of the biggest mistakes people make is they often have multiple call to actions on one page. So keeping it clean to just one call to action, and then making sure that, even though it's a lead magnet and it's free, you still want your copy on that landing page to sell that lead magnet. And so part of those prompts are asking you things like, well, what is the value of this lead magnet? What am I going to get out of signing up for this free guide or this 3-part series video tutorial? Sell me on what I'm going to get out of it. What are the benefits to me? So we talk a lot about benefits, and then, we help with the prompts. But with all of our programs, whether it's the Marketing VA Advantage, Love Your Profit, or the Software from Leads to Sales, we always have live calls because we understand the value of it. It can't be totally generic. Like, we can give you prompts to get you started, but if you're stuck on something, then we can actually brainstorm prompts that would be specific to something you're selling. And again, a lot of times it boils down to us helping our clients get their mission statement, their value proposition and their unique selling proposition, get those things really in line. So what you're selling and what the benefits are for your clients.
Right. Yeah, you're using the word strategy when I read your content. I've been on your LinkedIn page a little bit. And so strategy comes in. And I know that you've been talking to realtors, and that's fascinating to me, just because I really get interested in how realtors make their videos because there's such a huge range in quality. And I think all the time to myself, well, that person must have a professional camera. That person, or at least I can tell that person has a really nice phone and they know how to use it. And that in and of itself is really intimidating. Is incorporating images with myself. Now I'm asking you what the question, this question is kind of like a cinematography question.
Sure.
And you're trying to help me get to the bottom of my mission statement, which I think is really important. I'm going to ask you about that again, hopefully, before we run out of time. But I'm pressuring you a little bit. I'm challenging you with these aesthetic questions because that's the thing that gets me hung up before I even press record.
Yes. So we do work with a lot of real estate agents. My background's real estate. I started selling real estate in the late 80s. I went on to the mortgage side of the business. I eventually owned a mortgage company and I've owned a title company. So I understand real estate from the, back end of it. I've been there. So it's very easy for me to help create great automations for nurturing, let's say someone who purchased a house from you. I can give you a 5-year sequence of how you can stay in touch with them. So when they're ready to sell again, you're top of mind. So we can automate a lot of that. And some of that automation is a text that would tell you to call them on this date. So that's kind of my background. When it comes to
Cool.
confident
Yes.
on camera, and there is a big difference. First of all, I think there has to be a strategy around their content so that you'll find there's some YouTube channels that just focus on listings. There's some YouTube channels that just focus on buyers. There's some that just focus on, over 55 communities. So I think it's really important for that agent to figure out what is the direction they're going to take. There's a real estate agent in Florida. He takes a very right political lean with what he talks about on his channel. So he's going to attract half of the population. So it's really what strategy do you want to make? But I think it's like anything else. We always say the path of least resistance. So if you have a phone, you're perfectly capable of creating a video. The reality is you have to start somewhere. And there are tons of creators who've made a lot of money on YouTube, and they'll tell you in some of their videos, things I wish I hadn't done. I wish I had gone and bought all this expensive equipment that took me a long time to learn how to use it, because sometimes it steals the joy out of the process. So I think you can get great quality video from a good phone if you know how to use it. And that, I think, is just a matter of figuring out your lighting. If you're going to walk and talk with a camera, using a stabilizer so that it's not bouncing all over the place. I can't walk and talk because I'd be too breathy after a few minutes,
Yeah.
So make sure that's not you. So leading into it and watching your videos and figuring out what you could do better and asking objectively for friends to help you. But I think the hardest part for especially business owners, because most of our clients are not like rolling out of bed thinking, I want to be an influencer or I'm going to be a creator. They're thinking, I have valuable information that I want to share with people that can help them. And hopefully some of them will become my clients. So I would say start with what you have and then just improve 1% at a time and realize that you will get better and better. If you're great with technology and a really expensive fancy camera would make you feel better, then buy that, do that. If you love that kind of technology. If you're like me, it's always path of least resistance, because I joke that I can make any piece of technology mess up. So for me, I will just upgrade my phone and I will continue to use my phone. I don't foresee, moving to a high-end camera at any point. And this is on Zoom, so this might be a little grainier than it should be. And I'm thinking about actually recording these interviews from my phone rather than from my laptop.
Right. Yes. The first couple of interviews that I did were on the podcast were on a laptop, and that changed as soon as I could get my hands on a newer phone. And that's exactly right. So, okay. Well, you know what? I have, okay. So thank you for giving some behind the scenes there about, the real estate video, marketing. I think, what's particularly challenging too, for me, to think about jumping into using coaching from incorporating coaching and AI, right? If I were to come to you and say, okay, this is the person in the group who's going to help me understand how to use these tools in the way that I need to. Another major question I have right away is, well, I've heard about people who make a video recording or record in their home, and then whatever this video is, whatever it is, taking the raw cut and just giving it to any free editor that has AI tools included, and just let it add a filter and select some clips. Is that good enough?
Well, definitely not for real estate. Real estate, they're generally talking about specific neighborhoods. They're talking about a specific home. They're talking about an area. Most of our real estate agents end up creating what we call a B-roll library. So let's say they have a listing and they end up getting drone photography. They can use that drone photography to promote that listing, but now they also have that in their library so that their virtual assistant can pull it and use it in videos where it makes sense. So with real estate, you really are leaning into the neighborhoods, taking pictures or videoing neighborhood signs, or again, a lot of them will hire drone photographers to photograph neighborhoods or do video footage of neighborhoods so that they have that in their library. We want to show up looking our best on camera, obviously, and we want to show, especially if you're selling houses, you want to show those houses in their best light, which I think is very important. And then for people who are like coaches, most of them are creating their content from their home. Can you buy something interesting as part of your background? Make sure you don't have anything growing out of your head, so just making sure your background's clean and not distracting, making sure your lighting's good. And then also audio is really important no matter what type of video you're creating. So having a good microphone is important. But when it comes to can AI do and free software do do the job just as well as a virtual assistant, it depends on what type of editing you want. So like, again, for real estate agents, they're having their virtual assistant put specific images or specific video clips into their videos. They're way more strategic about the B-roll and the images that are going into their videos. With coaches or consultants, a lot of times it's just them talking, which is fine. But if you can have an AI tool that would pull in images that make sense, because remember, a podcast that someone's listening to, you want the audio to be amazing. If someone's going to watch your video, I always joke that people don't want to look at this. They don't want to look at me the whole time. So I want to have my virtual assistant add B-roll and images, but not just any images. I want them to relate to what I'm saying, and I want them to evoke emotion. So I want them to really make people feel what I want them to feel when I'm talking about, having the freedom of having a virtual assistant, or leaning into automation and having things that are set it and forget it, things that are done for you. And so it's important to realize when it comes to video, one, people aren't expecting movie quality. In fact, Think Media just did a video talking about how they like it. People tend to like things that are more real. So you want to keep it real, but at the same time, you want to keep it interesting enough to keep people on your videos. The other thing is I speak quickly. And what happens is most of the videos that I watch at 1.5 or 2. So I'm almost doubling the speed of what I'm watching or listening to, because I talk quickly and I process quickly. One of the things that we encourage a lot of people to do is speed up your content. So if you're a person that speaks very slowly and very methodically, you may want to speed that up a little bit so that it has more of a rhythm to it. And people can always rewind and listen to what you said. Let me rewind to that. But you want people to actually get through as much of the video as possible. And if you're moving really slowly, they're often going to drop off.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I often try to listen to myself every once in a while and notice that, whoa, I sound a lot slower than I felt at the moment.
Yes.
And I live in the South, and I have this that doesn't help me. I have the Southern timing as well. Well,
Yeah.
I think that the mission statement piece is really cool for you to bring up and focus on too, because I think sharing the mission statement of your business is something that maybe we could do more of. I think maybe if you have a good mission statement, you probably have an opportunity there to sort of share your heart with people. I think if you have a mission statement, which you're supposed to, right? But if you have a mission statement, probably you created that because you do have an aspect of your business that you want to show people the purpose and the care and what it is that matters to you most. So is there a way to share your mission statement on video?
Yes. The reality is we don't often share our mission statement. And in fact, we just finished redoing our mission statement. And can you hear my dog barking?
No.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay. So what I find from our mission statement, our value proposition, is it really helps us. I need to do this. Someone's knocking at my door. Can I pause for 1 second?
Yeah.
I am so sorry.
No, you're fine. My cup. Yeah.
So with our mission statement, it evolves over time. It's like anything else, your mission changes. And we don't always share our mission statement, but the way we use it is to help us make decisions. Is this going to keep us on our mission? So how our mission statement has evolved over the years is, we've always wanted to serve our clients and to help them be successful. And when we were just coaching or when Jeannie had our agency, we were doing that in a very different way. So now our mission is to really help business owners lean into automation because we know that time is their most valuable asset. So we want to help them lean into automation and technology, but to have the support that they need to do that. The other thing is we want to give them access to affordable virtual assistants, but not just access because everybody has access to them, right? But so often I hear, I hired a virtual assistant. It just wasn't worth it. If I have to spend that much time training them, I'll just do it myself. And because again, most business owners don't have standard operating procedures. They don't document what they do. They don't think about the cost of time to bring someone and onboard them and get them properly set up to do the job the way you want it. And so we do all of that for our clients so that that they can just jump in and be successful with a virtual assistant. We also teach cultural differences on both sides. What does it look like, from a Filipino's perspective compared to an American's? We communicate very aggressively compared to them. We don't realize it, but we don't mean anything by it, but we do. So learning to understand those things. And then, as we've worked with virtual assistants, we've outsourced to 6 different countries for the 17 years. We've actually got to see the benefit and the value that it brings to a lot of our team members and the virtual assistants that we place with clients. We just see how it changes their lives for the better when they have long-term employment, when they're working with someone who pays them consistently, when they're doing something that they love, and that the business owner is often giving them opportunities to learn new things or to evolve in their position within the business. So our mission now is not just about, obviously everybody wants to have a successful business and we all want to serve our clients, but our mission is also about having a heart to help these hardworking people halfway around the world gain employment with people who, value and appreciate them and keep them for a long time. Any company, corporations, they'll all tell you, one of the biggest costs to them is turnover. When people leave and then you have to bring someone else on, you lose the time, you've got to train them. So we try to help our clients understand the value of retention as they build their team. And whether that's a marketing virtual assistant or a bookkeeping virtual assistant, we want them to have a great relationship long-term so that they can kind of set it and forget it. These things are being done. You have your check-in meetings with your team, and then you're off doing your thing. You're off doing what you love doing. You're off, helping your clients. And so our mission is about helping our clients, have the time that they need to live their lives, not burn out, and to also be able to build successful businesses without all the stress. But it's also a mission of helping people halfway around the world end up with great jobs.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I mean, that's actually something that I don't see often in a mission statement is where you have consideration for your vendors and your suppliers, and it's all part of the same mission statement, which is fascinating. And that is actually a pull too, I think, and a selling point for me, right, is to think that you're interested in how those relationships make your work and your life easier and more fun. It's more fun when you can,
Absolutely.
uh,
Yeah.
when you are creating with a team. So I know how to get in touch with you on LinkedIn, and that as Kirsten Graham's SF. Let's see, six figure business coaching not dot com. That's your
Yeah.
LinkedIn profiles. Kirsten
Yes.
Graham SFBC.
Yeah. And people can find me on our website, which is sixfigurebusinesscoaching.com. And that's sixfigurebusinesscoaching.com. We're in the middle of doing a big update of our website, which I'm super excited about. And yeah, there's some freebies there. There's lots of content there. And we only help people with 3 types of virtual assistants: software virtual assistants, bookkeeping virtual assistants, and marketing virtual assistants. And I always like to tell people we're not a marketing agency and we're not an outsourcing agency. We genuinely coach our clients and we train their virtual assistants for them to make that relationship successful and to help our clients build businesses based on a foundation that, isn't all about them, that they have the support that they need to grow bigger than they thought they could.
Grow bigger than they thought they could. Six figure business coaching. Thank you so much, Kirsten. And I would like to touch base with you at some point on some of these other topics. I hope you have a great day and we talk soon.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed our conversation.
Me too. All right. Well, take care for now. You've been listening to the Dear Business Coach podcast. My name's Elizabeth Walker, producer and host. Don't forget to subscribe to email. Thank you so much for being here, and find one thing today to move your business forward. Contact me at dearbusinesscoachpodcast@gmail.com. And as always, you are a superstar.